After 10 years away from baseball and spending an entire year of training really hard and using Chat GPT to re-engineer my swing, I decided to go all in on baseball, train as hard as I could to be the best player possible. But there was just one problem. I got injured. Hello everyone, this is Bryce on Balls, where I document my personal journey with baseball in the hopes of helping you on yours. In today's video, I want to talk about the small injury that's kept me back from my baseball training, and here's also what I did about it. Before I go into the details in this video, I just want to give out a medical disclaimer. I myself am not a medical professional. I always advocate and say that you should listen fully and wholeheartedly to your doctors, PAs, nurses, physicians, etc. when they are giving you medical advice. This video is in no way, shape, or form medical advice whatsoever. I am just sharing my story with you as an anecdote so that you can take something away from it, whatever that might be. So about 8 weeks ago, I was actually playing volleyball. It was still warm out. I went to set a ball. I missed it, and I actually crushed the tip of my pinky. I kind of heard this slight popping sound that I haven't really heard before, and I knew at an instant that something was wrong. I immediately went to urgent care. Turns out that I got an injury called mallet finger, where it snaps the tendon in your finger so that your finger makes a droop and you can't fully extend it. This is what it looks like 8 weeks post injury. It's a lot more healed now, and the tendon is almost, if not fully, repaired, but I still haven't been able to train with baseball to the fullest. Having said that, I still did find a way to train safely, and I want to be able to demonstrate that to you all. So if you've ever gone through an injury, maybe you can get a little creative and still find a way to get some work in. With all of that out of the way, my mallet finger injury happened 8 weeks ago. I went to the doctor. They pretty much told me you have to keep your right hand pinky finger in a splint for 6 weeks and pretty much never take it off, no exceptions, so that your tendon can heal fully. Now, if you guys have been watching my previous videos, you will know that I am fully and wholeheartedly back into baseball again after 10 years of being away from it and trying to refine my training and technique so that I can be the best baseball player as I can. So when I got the news that I had to be in a splint for 6 weeks and I couldn't really make a full fist, I couldn't do hand gripping motions like we do a lot in baseball, as if you're holding a bat, throwing a ball, honestly, that was pretty devastating. It gave me a pretty big reality check. Very soon, life pretty much became one-handed, and to make it even worse, I had to become left-handed, which I'm naturally a right-handed thrower, which means I couldn't really do batting practice anymore. I couldn't do any pitching reps. I couldn't do plyo ball work. I couldn't do med ball work. My weightlifting regimen was severely limited. So I had a realization, and basically that realization was that throughout my training within the last year, I've basically been hiding behind grinding and just taking as many reps as humanly possible in the hopes of getting better. Now, that is pretty par for the course of me throughout my life. Historically speaking, I've always been one to just take as many reps as humanly possible till I got tired, train as many days in a row as I could till I got tired. I've never been someone who's been very good about resting. But this experience kind of forced me to change up my mindset and change up my regimen pretty severely. I made a ton of wholesale changes. What were those changes, though, exactly? I've already mentioned all the things that I stopped doing, but what are the things I started doing or I refined? What I refined are actually quite a few different things. For one, I still did a full strength work. Having said that, I would use machines at the gym and I would never use my right hand to make a fist. So for example, if I was going to use the chest press, what I would do is I would grab the handles, I would grip it fully with my left hand, but I would keep my right hand open while having the splint on. Of course, I could never take it off. And I kind of applied that same mantra to all other machine exercises that I did, and it worked out pretty well. I never had a problem with my splint falling off. I never was really in a ton of pain, and I suppose I'm pretty lucky for that. Another thing I refined, I still was able to do J-bands, but I had to get like the wrist cuffs that you could attach them to so that I wouldn't have to hang on to them with my hands. So that way I could still do mobility work in both of my shoulders and keep those small muscles strengthening as much as I could. The third very interesting thing that I did, which was an additive and not so much as a refinement, I actually started taking reps with a wiffle ball bat. This guy right here specifically, actually. I kept it up in the room that you see now, and I would pretty much just take reps with it. I would film them, I would study them, and I would make changes. Having said that, the major caveat I'll put into that is I actually started using this tool called Win Reality. I'm going to make an entire separate, perhaps video or even video series about my use with Win Reality. Win Reality is basically an application. It's an app or a tool that I use in order to take baseball reps in virtual reality. So what it requires is a virtual reality headset. I have the MetaQuest 3. And you go to Win Reality, you purchase a monthly subscription to use it, you download the app, you go into the app, you take reps. Again, I'll have an entire video explaining my experience with Win Reality and why I think it's so awesome. Not a sponsor, by the way. And in conjunction with that, I do use their Swing AI service. I found that when I would upload my swings to Win Reality Swing AI, I was able to take my wiffle ball bat reps and send it to them. They could diagnose my swing and show me all the improvements or lack thereof that I could make. I started using Win Reality in combination with the wiffle bat I just showed you guys in order to learn how to do pitch recognition, how to practice as many reps as I possibly could without having to be in a real setting where I'm having to grip a baseball bat fully with both of my hands, which is something I couldn't do anymore. And using the wiffle ball bat combined with virtual reps in Win Reality is something that I was comfortable with and I never really had a problem doing when it came to my splint. Basically what I did was I bat left-handed. I gripped the bat like this, so I kind of had this pinky off the edge of the knob. And I could still swing pretty adequately doing that because this wiffle ball bat is only 6-7 ounces when I last weighed it. So I could still train using Win Reality, but not overload my finger to the point where I'm going to damage the tendon in any way. Again, I'm not advocating that you do any of the things that I'm talking about in this video. I'm just sharing it with you anecdotally in order to perhaps give you some kind of value if you yourself are going through an injury. But with all that out of the way, what are some things that this injury taught me and what was the mental toll side of it that I didn't anticipate? This injury was a very painful time and a very painful lesson to me, and it still is because I'm technically still going through it. The biggest lesson I learned, though, is that you cannot grind your way through everything. I mean, for months on end, through the spring to the summer, every single day I would come home, I'd go out to the baseball field with just me, a tee, and a bucket of baseballs, and I would film them, I'd upload it to ChatGPT, like I talked about in my previous video, and I would make swing adjustments from there. And it did make me better, but the reality is it was too much training. It was just straight up too much. What this injury had to do was make me realize that I had to train smarter, not harder. So what I did was I started doing a ton of research. What are the most effective ways to train in baseball? How many days a week should I really be training? How many times a week should I be throwing? How many times a week should I be throwing plyo balls? How about overload and underload swings? Things along those lines. And I learned a ton. And of course, as you might have imagined, I actually used ChatGPT to help me out with a lot of it. I did a lot of my research through ChatGPT. I used it to help me create new routines that were related to explosive training, so you can up your throwing velocity, your bat speed, your strength in general. And it really helped me refine my training, which in the hopes that it will keep me from burning out, keep me from getting too tired, and wholly and fully make me a much better baseball player than I would have been otherwise. And that in turn kind of helped expose weaknesses in the process that I have on my journey to becoming a better player, because candidly, now that I'm looking back on it, I had a lot of them. The second thing that this injury taught me was the fact that Although there is a real mental, well, the fact that there is a real mental toll that comes with being injured and not being able to participate in the things you like and enjoy. But it also taught me that everything happens for a reason, and it could be, things could be a blessing in disguise, even though they might not look like it. Which kind of leads me to the unexpected outcome of my mallet finger injury, which is starting this YouTube channel. I thought to myself, if I can't participate as fully as I would like in this game, I still felt compelled to do something. So what I did was I started documenting my journey with baseball, turning it into videos just like this, in the hopes of just helping you guys or you girls or whoever's out there watching this video. Because what I realized with not being able to participate in baseball was that there's a sense of purpose that was kind of missing outside of not being able to refine my technique as much as I've been doing. And this is, I guess, that purpose. So in summarization, everybody, I hurt myself 8 weeks ago with a mallet finger injury, and it really prompted me to reshape the manner in which I train, the way I think about training, and my purpose through baseball in general. And I want you to know that despite being injured, being out for a period of time, everything happens for a reason. Things will get so much better, and you will have great benefits that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise or would have never thought that would come about. So there is hope. And if any of you are struggling with an injury and can't train, I highly encourage you, share your story with me. I would love to read all about it. Share it with each other. Because we're all on this together, right? Like, this game of baseball is a lifelong journey, and it's to our benefit to help each other out. With that, everyone, this concludes the video. I'm Bryce. This is Bryce on Balls. And until next time, have a great day.